Hello, and welcome to The Free Up, the show where Black women come together to discuss a variety of issues that affect us and our community. Today, I'm here with Simone, Eva, and Pumela, and we're going to be talking about colorism. So, ladies, colorism. Where do you think colorism began? Like, did it have its roots in slavery? What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly where it started. So there's actually a letter called the Willie Lynch letter that became very popularized. They say they don't know if it's real or not, but in this letter, Willie Lynch was actually a slave owner in the West Indies, and he received a letter that spoke about how to divide Black people, and one way to divide us was by color. So that's an interesting thought that I forgot when I first heard about colorism and I heard about this letter. I was like, oh, it made sense. They divide us, obviously, they'd have the darker skinned women like ourselves. Yeah. We would either be bed wenches or we would be in the fields. And they would have light skinned women in the homes who would also serve as bed wenches because you guys were the closest, they said.
Right.
To white. So, and usually you were like a slave owner's child, which they would never claim.
Right. Yeah. For sure, and that reminds me of, I think one of the most popular examples is the apartheid in South Africa, and the way that they use skin complexion to create that tier system. Yeah,
I certainly think so. I think further than going beyond slavery, I think if you look back during colonialism, because of course before slavery, you had the colonials who came into Africa to take away the slaves, and that played a big role in terms of how colorism came into play in Africa in itself too, because I think being from Africa, never having heard about colorism, but having experienced that, we have this thing where in Kenya, light-skinned girls are called brown girls. Oh, that girl is, look at her, beautiful brown girl. Brown girl this, brown girl that. And not enough is given towards women who are just Black beauties. And you're Black, you're beautiful, and you come in all different shades. But there's always certain credits that's given to the brown girl, the lighter-skinned girl.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, as a light-skinned woman, I have to say I agree, and I've seen a lot of examples of that.
Yeah.
You're going to say something?
Well, to me, yes, it is a factor. In some areas, but I think also yes, the lighter. You get more preferences than a darker one. But also, I believe that if you have education, I think that's where you will find. The stereotype that the lighter you are, you become like a blonde, meaning dumb, because you're accepted more by the whites. Whereas the darker one, you will have to prove yourself through education or be more talented and to be accepted. But if you're lighter skin, it's like, oh, I'll get that job because I'm a lighter version of, yes, I may be Black, but lighter, so they would want me more and I can get the preference. I'll get the jobs, I'll get the better pay. You understand? So you find that the darker skin girl will work double harder than the lighter skin.
Yeah, I could see that.
Credit for it. And it's in many examples that you do see that. When you're speaking about working harder, because I find it interesting also that, we're talking 60s now. We're talking maybe Black Panther times. I'm sure you guys probably know about the Black Panthers. The faces that you see out are lighter skinned women. And I always thought, I think I brought this up before, that light skinned women is interesting. They actually sometimes have to prove that they're Black. They need to do 10 times more to prove that they are down with the people. Right?
Yes.
Because in a way they're sometimes ostracized, and women like Angela Davis, right, who is very much in the forefront of all of that. You will see the light-skinned figures seen a lot more than the dark-skinned women who are fighting just as hard. And even now, what's that show? Dear White People.
Dear White People, yes. Yeah, I know, that's a great show.
Because you had mentioned something about even with you when it comes to Dear White People. Actually, I'll let you tell your story.
Which part? I don't even know where to begin.
You look like her. You look a lot like that.
The lead in that. Oh, okay, yes.
She had to prove so much harder that she was down for the people,
right,
down for the cause.
Yeah.
Because she was light-skinned.
Yeah. And I could say that part of my experience has been that as well. And for me, a lot of people just assume I'm mixed race. But actually, I'm a Black woman. Both my parents are Black. They're from the Caribbean. My mom's from St. Lucia. My dad's from Dominica. And I grew up thinking I was Black. I never had to defend that until I went into school. And that's when it was like, and I was in, French immersion, so there wasn't that many Black kids in my class. I think there was probably one other Black boy in my class who, we just didn't relate because our personalities didn't work together, but we were the only two Black kids in my class. And I remember being discriminated against because I was different in school. And as I got older and there was more Black kids in my class, I remember feeling, I wasn't accepted amongst the white kids, and now that there's more Black kids coming, I felt like I had to defend my Blackness and say, no, guys, I am Black. Like, I'm not even mixed. Like, I have to say, I'm Black, and like I've shared a lot. Like, I'm discriminated against regardless, But I do understand that there is that preferential treatment, and we see it in Hollywood. I think that's the biggest place that we see it. Whenever there's a Black woman in a lead role, a lot of the time it is a light-skinned woman. And, that bothers me because I feel like it's dividing us. And of course I want us to be united, and we'd be stronger as a united front and celebrate all the different shades that makes up Blackness, and we have that benefit over any other race that we can say we come in all shades and we're all beautiful. Literally. Yes. Yeah. And yeah.
It's interesting, Nika, though, not all women, like lighter skinned women, think like you. Some lighter skinned women want to keep that two-tier system where they're better because they're light skinned. Not every light skinned woman's going to give up her preferential treatment. It's like asking a white person to give up their entitlement that they feel, right? Yes. They don't want to give that up sometimes. Yeah. So you're unique sometimes. Because not all light. I'm sorry, I met some light skinned girls who will look down at me when they see me because I'm darker skinned. I'm like,
well, they have issues. they have issues.
Black is Black at the end of the day. I mean, regardless of your complexion. I mean, look at Obama. Obama being the first Black president of America. I mean, look at the First Lady Michelle. Okay, Michelle is not the most beautiful. She's just beautiful. No, let's speak the truth.
Michelle Obama's beautiful, but
beautiful,
that's
but
okay.
what I'm saying is she's not like supermodel. Like
okay.
She's a beautiful woman.
She's beautiful,
right?
And she was the First Lady of America. Yeah. So in the eyes of the whites, Obama, even though he's half white and half Black, he's Black.
Right. Yes. Especially in America, he would be considered Black for sure.
It's only amongst ourselves we divide each other. Okay, because he's half. Therefore, we think, or it appears as if he's better. But Black, even if you're a quarter Black, you're Black.
Doesn't
matter. Oh, yeah.
If it comes down to, and there's some type of race war or race division or whatever the case where they're looking at you Black or white. If you're half Black, you're Black. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Even a quarter. If you have anything, if you look a tinge of a color, you're Black. So sometimes I see the entitlement that some lighter skinned people feel, I'm just like, sweetness.
Yeah.
With the Obamas going into office, I think that gave us as a Black people so much empowerment and confidence in ourselves. Because I look at Michelle Obama and I think, okay, she can do it and I can do it. Yeah. I look at how she carries herself, how she handles herself, how she speaks, how she dresses. She's always very well put together, has a great sense of fashion, and brilliant woman and intelligent and all of that, right? And so she went in there and just brought in this brand new image of elegance and regal nature of the Black woman that we really are. And for that, I really love her and I just admire her so much.
Absolutely. I have to agree 100% with that. So we were talking about the preferential treatment that some light-skinned sisters have in comparison to dark-skinned sisters. And I'm curious, have you experienced anything like that in your personal life?
You want me to start?
Go ahead, Salah.
So, yes. I have relatives who are lighter skinned than me. And you know what? I don't want to... Okay, so good hair comes into this whole thing because sometimes they put light skin with good hair. So you'll see a light skinned girl with a weave, and sometimes you'll just assume it's her hair because she's lighter skinned.
Hello.
But she could very well be wearing a wig, right? So sometimes they associate those two things, right? But for me, in my situation, I had cousins who were lighter skinned, and like they would, even in pictures, sometimes they would get a focal point and they'd put me at the end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it happened. But
Yeah.
this is not just me. I can tell you countless stories where the darker skinned girl will get kind of pushed in. I'm not even that dark skinned. Like, I think I'm brown. Like, I'm not dark. There's darker skinned women than me.
Right, yeah.
I think so. I believe so. I think there's so many different shades. You know what? What's interesting? The other day I was somewhere and I saw this girl, and she was dark and beautiful, and that black milky skin. I think that is like an oxymoron, but it's so black that it's milky and almost see through. That's what she looked like, and she had this beautiful teeth. So the moment she smiled, she just went, "Hi, may I help you?" And I was like, oh my goodness, you're so beautiful. You are so black. You're beautiful. And we need to appreciate that, and we begin to see that in the media as well. That right now that people, models and high end fashion are beginning to appreciate the darker skinned women. So we know of the model, the Sudanese model, a few Sudanese models. I know of Alek Kwek and among others who just embody the blackness, and everybody's like, it's so exotic. But it should not be exotic because we're not. We are beautiful. We're not just exotic because it's not just out of the norm that we happen to be black.
Right.
I think it's almost trendy. I feel like right now, even with designers, I feel like the dark skin is a trend now.
Yeah.
Almost,
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not that they truly appreciate us. I think it's just. It's trending now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just like how the whole Afrocentric style is trending. Everyone now is Afrocentric.
Yes.
That's
all these
true.
designers are now putting Afrocentric prints, and because you have Afrocentric prints, you can't put a white girl in Afrocentric print. You gotta put a dark skinned girl.
Right.
They'll try to put, but even then, they won't put a light skinned girl. They'll put a dark skinned girl. So for me, is it just that we're in right now?
Right.
Is dark skin just in? Just like how Albie Shore and light skin was in the 80s. Did I say Albie Shore?
Yeah, don't date yourself, girl.
So 80s, early 90s, light skin was in.
Yeah, especially for men. Like, I remember it being a big thing at one point. The light-skinned man with the goatee and all that stuff was like a thing. Yeah.
The Shamar Moores of our time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yes.
And I'm going to touch just again on the preferential treatment aspect of things. So, and for me, when I hear that as a light-skinned person, I understand it, but at the same time, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit. And I'll tell you why. So I'll give you an example. So when I was younger in high school, I had a friend of mine who was Persian. And every time I would go to her house, her mom used to be like, "Oh, Anika, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful." And she would just love me up and give me food, and it was all great.
Yeah.
And one time my friend had come up to me and she was laughing. She said, my mom asked me the other day where you're from. And I said, she's black. And her mom said, no, don't say that. She's not black. I don't want to hear that. Wow. She's not black. And if she's black, then I don't want her to come back.
Wow.
So I think that having the lighter skin can maybe open doors for you a little bit. It may be because when people that aren't black, if you're in a corporate setting or something like that, they might give you the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, well, maybe she's not that black, the black that they have in their mind, right? But at the same time, you're still black. And so you might get that benefit for the meantime, but if somebody is racist, you're gonna feel those effects right away, regardless. So we are going to take a break and we'll be right back on the issue of colorism.